Hello, everybody. Just a second. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody is doing well. I am Reverend and Civil Rights Attorney Augustus Corbett. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. We got quite a bit to talk about, and I'm not going to hold you long because this is a developing story, right? This whole thing started last night, and it has progressed all during the day, and it's going to continue to progress. So, so I'm not going to get very much into the facts because the facts are changing. I mean, they're changing all the way around. So before I get started, I just want to say hello to everybody. Let me see if I can see some of you folks and shout you out here. Just hang in there. Okay, I'm getting a signal here. I hope everything is okay. All right, everything is good. All right, just hang with me here for a second. I just want to check something out. Check something out, brother. Just want to check something out. Okay. All right, I don't know. Okay, I don't think I can see things, but I do see a few folks here. Antoinette, hello. How are you? Maria McNeil, how are you tonight? Hope you're doing well. Willette Harris, greetings to you as well. Thank you for your greeting. Brenda, hello. Hello from Florida. All right. Eva, good evening to you. All right. Lauren Rowland, I think it is. Hello to you as well. Patricia Board, hello to everyone. All right. Tammy Knoll, hello. Patricia Board, I think I just said that. Autumn, good evening to you. Okay. Zach Price, hello to you. Thank you for joining us tonight. All right. Let's see here. I like this. Cross, all power, black power, black power. Yes, very good. John Adams, hello. Valerie Codwell, good evening to you. Melvin Taylor, good evening to you as well. All right. Okay, so let's get to popping. Like I said, so much is happening. Tamika Johnson. Hello, Miss Johnson. Who else we got here? So many folks. So many people. Okay, so let's get into it. Like I said, I'm not going to, because it's a developing story. I say something tonight, it could be different before I get off the air. It could be different tomorrow. It's a fast-moving story, and it's a chaotic story, no doubt. All right? So first, let's start with what is the legal question here? What is the legal question? Because this morning when I woke up, I read where Senator Chuck Schumer said that Trump's actions had thrust the country into a constitutional crisis. A constitutional crisis. So what is the legal back and forth that's going on between basically the president and Congress? What is the question? All right, let's go to another screen. The question is, who controls the country's purse strings? Who controls the money? And the answer is Congress, not the president. Congress. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 1 says, the Congress shall have power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, excises, to pay the debts and provide for the common defense and general welfare of the United States. But all duties, imposts, excises shall be uniform throughout the United States. So clear we see Congress shall have the power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, excises, to pay the debts and provide for the common and general welfare of the United States. So clearly, Congress controls the purse strings. But here's the thing. The GOP controls Congress. The GOP controls Congress, both houses, both chambers, the Senate and the House. So the legal question and answer to that question is, who controls the money? It is Congress. And right now, Congress is in the hands of the GOP. Now, what Trump did today is not a surprise to me. If you have been on this channel, it shouldn't be a surprise to you, because I spent a year warning you that Project 2025 was coming down the pipe if Trump won. They put it online, they put it on the internet, and they eventually put the manual on the internet. So we knew it was coming. I warned you, I told you that all of this was going to happen. Every bit of this and a whole lot more. That mandate is over 900 pages. And already Trump has been releasing executive orders consistent with Project 2025. Okay, so this shouldn't be a surprise. Now, there were a whole lot of folks, whole lot of people saying things like, oh, that's nothing. That's scare tactics, fear tactics. That's you just trying to scare people. You're just trying to scare people. And I was literally reading from the mandate. Yet folks were dismissing it and saying there's nothing. There's nothing to that. There's nothing to that. Oh. You hear me now? What's that old commercial? You hear me now? And again, there's more to come. Lots more. Project 2025. And one of the things that one of the authors said, and there's so much, but relative to this particular chaotic day, one of the chapters says the president should use every possible tool to propose and impose fiscal discipline on the federal government. And that is exactly what Trump and MAGA is trying to do now. Impose, not fiscal discipline, but their will, their ideology upon the country. impose, not just proposing, they're imposing it. And this goes on to say anything short of that would constitute abject failure. Now, who wrote that? This gentleman, Russell T. Vogt, one of the authors of Project 2025. I've mentioned his name a few times on this channel. Because again, I started bringing up Project 2025 and trying to school people about Project 2025 literally back in the spring of 2024. Further back than that, actually. So who is Russell T. Vogt? Well, again, he helped write Project 2025. He is Trump's current pick nominee for OMB, the Office of Management and Budget. Very powerful office, and the office that sent this memorandum, this paper out today imposing this freeze. Now, Russell has not been confirmed yet. He did have a confirmation hearing. I watched part of that, and it was lively. He has not been confirmed yet, and we see here he was the OMB, he oversaw the OMB in Trump's first administration. And needless to say, he's far right in his worldview. Okay, he's very conservative in his worldview. So a lot of what we see happening here and what will happen if he's confirmed will be coming out of his office. Now, I want to show you someone else. This sister, Shalonda Young. Miss Young was OMB under Biden. First African-American woman to serve in that position. Miss Young. And let me tell you, if Miss Young was still in that position, we would not be dealing with this. Elections have consequences, and so does who we vote for and who we don't vote for and whether we vote, which is why I spent all the time I did talking about Project 2025, hoping, praying, believing, prodding, pushing people to go vote. But there were other voices out there too saying this Project 2025 is nothing. I'm just trying to scare people. Well, this is where we are. Again, it's going to get worse. So, is the move legal? Is it a legal move? Is it constitutional? Well, there are two statutes in a Supreme Court case that will play a huge role in answering that question. The Administrative Procedure Act, the APA, which is a statute that governs the agencies, the federal agencies, and how they are to operate. So it will play a part. Also, the Empowerment Control Act of 1974 will also play a role here. This statute was enacted back during the Nixon presidency, and essentially, it does give the president some authority to either defer or rescind some of Congress's spending, although Congress has the constitutional authority to do the spending. The executive, the chief executive officer, the CEO, the commanding officer, the president, does have some authority under the Empowerment Control Act to do things, different things with the money that Congress has allocated. However, the Empowerment Control Act gives Congress the ultimate decision-making authority and can override the president. Okay? Now, Mr. Vogt, Russell Vogt, that we talked about there a moment ago, he believes the Empowerment Control Act is unconstitutional. So MAGA believes that the president should be able to sort of override Congress, despite the Constitution. Override Congress, despite the Constitution. To that, Senator Schumer today said that the president was acting like a king and not conforming to the United States Constitution. And then there's the Supreme Court case, Train versus the City of New York. And it basically held that when Congress allocates money, the president is pretty much bound by that allocation to spend it the way Congress says. That's pretty much the holding of that case. So I suspect that these two statutes in this U.S. Supreme Court case will play a part in determining whether or not Trump will be able to do this in the future and get away with it. Because we know this case, we know this situation is going to end up in front of SCOTUS. We know that. We already know that. We know it's going in front of the United States Supreme Court. And the court should, all caps, should, consistent with what I just shared with you, say no. No, the Constitution is clear. Case law is clear. Congress controls the purse strings. But we're talking about a very conservative 6-majority Supreme Court here. So it is really anyone's guess what will ultimately happen. But if they were to say that Trump has the authority to do that, and again, it is really possible because this court has given a whole lot of deference to the presidency with that absolute immunity case and with the Chevron case, cases that were handed down back in the summer of 2024. And it gave presidents, those cases gave presidents a lot of power. A lot of power. Okay? But if they were to essentially repeal the Empowerment Control Act and overturn Train, then yes, Trump will basically at that point it'll be another instance of putting him above what the framers wrote in the Constitution, essentially putting him over the law, putting him over the rule of law. But it could very well happen. Very well could happen. So, all bets are off. I would not bet against this court, just to be honest. All right, now, let me see if I can get to an article that I want to read for you. Let's see. All right, just a second. I had it all teed up, and here it is, messing up. But we'll figure it out. We'll get it figured out. More than one way to do a thing. Okay, is this it? This ain't the one I wanted, but just hold on with me, because I want to find the one I had teed up here. All right, this will do. This will do right here. Okay, let's go over there and read some of this article. All right, New York Times article. Federal judge blocks Trump's freeze of federal grant funds. So that is like the sort of latest development, and it's a pretty important development. A federal judge blocks the freeze, Trump's freeze. So let's read some of this. A federal judge in the District of Columbia on Tuesday evening temporarily blocked the Trump administration's effort to freeze as much as $3 trillion in federal grants and loans, quieting the chaos and confusion that had gripped states, cities, and government contractors across the country, but not ending the uncertainty. Judge Lauren Ali Khan's decision to block the freeze with an administrative stay came in response to a lawsuit filed by Democracy Forward, a nonprofit legal organization. The group argued that the Trump administration's order issued by the White House Office of Management and Budget late on Monday violated the First Amendment and the Administrative Procedure Act, a law that governs the executive branch's rulemaking authorities. The judge said she would hold a hearing to consider a more permanent decision on February 3rd, which is this coming Monday. So she granted a temporary stay, which means that stops everything, because it was to go in effect at 5 p.m. today. So she stopped that. That's my understanding. This stuff is changing by the minute. And in addition to Democracy Forward filing the lawsuit, separately, attorneys general from 22 states in the District of Columbia filed a second lawsuit Tuesday evening that also sought to thwart Mr. Trump's effort to freeze funding, pending his administration's review of whether the spending comported with his priorities. The legal wrangling came against a backdrop of bewilderment from coast to coast after Matthew J. Vaith, I believe, the acting director of the White House Office of Management and Budget, he's the acting director until Russell Vought becomes over the OMB, announced in a 2-page memo, I got that memo, but there's no point in reading it, Monday night that federal agencies were to temporarily pause all activities related to obligation or disbursement of all federal financial assistance, specifically citing DEI, woke gender ideology, and the Green New Deal. Now, that alone should defeat what they did here. Because the Empowerment Act of 74, and by the way, the empowerment, let me say this about empowerment. That's just, you know what an empowerment is. I mean, it may have happened to you, right? If you get your car impound, that means law enforcement booted your car or towed your car and then placed it in the custody of the police department at some, like junkyard, and you got to go spend money to get it out. Your car has been impounded, right? And so that's what essentially Trump and his administration did here. They impounded federal funding, spending, which is the reason why Chuck Schumer and some of the Democrat senators and House of Representative members were teed. I mean, how dare you impound money that we already allocated? We already allocated and budgeted that money. And especially for the reasons that this article mentioned, for, to kill DEI, which is basically done woke gender ideology. So essentially, they were stopping all funding to make sure that the agencies and so forth, the offices and various agencies across the federal government were in compliance to Trump's executive orders. So that's essentially what they were doing. Attorney General Bob Bonta of California said the order's ambiguous wording was by design and was intended to provoke uncertainty. In an interview, he called the order reckless and dangerous. The ruling by Judge Lauren Alicon marked the second time that a federal judge has intervened to pause Mr. Trump's expansive interpretation of his own powers in order to let a legal challenge proceed. On Thursday, Judge John C. Coffenor, I don't know how to pronounce that, Coffenor of the Western District of Washington issued a temporary restraining order that blocked an attempt by Mr. Trump to end automatic citizenship for babies born on U.S. soil. The judge was nominated to the bench by President Ronald Reagan, Judge Alicon by President Joseph R. Biden. And that opinion that the judge out in Washington wrote, he went in. He went in on the Trump administration for that. He said it was just blatantly unconstitutional trying to undo birthright citizenship like that. Okay? So that's enough of that article. That's the gist of where we are with this. For now, a federal judge has blocked it, has stayed it. A stay it's a legal term that simply means the judge stopped it. Just stop it. Just hold on. Everybody, hold on. Catch your breath. Let's look at this. Let's file some briefs. Be ready to make your arguments. Give me the opportunity to read your briefs, and then she'll look at it again and decide a more permanent solution, although it will be temporary, because no matter what she says here, it's going to be appealed, right? If she rules in Mr. Trump's favor, then of course the AG, all those attorney generals, as well as the nonprofits, will appeal to the DC Circuit. And if she, on the other hand, ruled for the nonprofits and the attorneys general, then the Trump administration will appeal. And ultimately, it will end up in front of SCOTUS in all likelihood. Now, SCOTUS doesn't have to take a case, okay? SCOTUS can deny a party's writ of certiorari and, say, no, we're not hearing it. SCOTUS doesn't deal with a whole lot of cases each year. It's not like regular courts that are obligated to take, anything almost that walks through the door. SCOTUS is not like that. It picks and chooses the cases that it wants to hear and rule on. So SCOTUS doesn't have to take it, but in all likelihood, it will take it once it goes through the DC Circuit. And there may be some maneuver or something that one of the parties tried to get it straight on into SCOTUS. I don't know, since it's such an important case. I don't know. And again, my guess would be SCOTUS would say, no, Mr. Trump, you can't do that. The Constitution is clear. We got precedent. But once again, it's a very conservative 6-member court here. So they could turn everything up on its head, and that's exactly what would happen. I never thought that they would give the presidency or the president absolute immunity. I just never thought that would happen. But they did. So you cannot predict this court. Can't predict it. So we will see what the judge there in D.C. does. Again, her name is Judge Ali Khan. We'll see what she ultimately decides. If she decides to stay this on a longer basis, some sort of an injunction or something, then she'll do that, and then it'll get appealed, and as I explained. All right. And now another burning question that I just can't answer right now is who is or will be impacted by this. I don't know. I have read and heard conflicting stories. One of the Trump administration's key persons, Stephen Miller, he gave an interview outside the White House, I believe, and said that this would not impact anyone who is relying on federal funding. I don't know, because I later read that Medicaid was being held up, and the government, the agency that handles that, I don't know, maybe HHS, could not get the money downloaded, couldn't download the money. So I'm hearing two different things. So who this specifically will impact, I don't know, and I don't think they even know at this point. I'm hearing so many different things. Hopefully it's not you or someone who's in dire need. Hopefully it's not like the folks in California whose properties were burned down. Hopefully this is not impacting those folks or the people in my home state of North Carolina who need help, government help with the hurricanes, those horrible hurricanes. Look, you all, I'm from that neck of the woods originally. I've been through 50 hurricanes in my life, and they can just really devastate your life. And just, so I hope none of that's happening. SNAP, folks, disability, I hope none of that's happening. But I can't say. I'm not going to go out there because I've seen conflicting information. All right. I'm looking here to see if I can I think this is Carlette Jones. Hi, I'm a veteran and go to the VA for services. First of all, thank you for your service, Ms. Jones. And I too am a veteran and use the VA services as well. And can you talk about the federal services affected? Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Ms. Jones. I wish I had more specific information. I think as the days go on, we'll have some better, some more reliable information. But I've seen just too many conflicting stories to really say what agencies will be affected by this. I do sincerely apologize for that. Maybe you can call the VA in your area and see if this has affected them. Hopefully not. I can't imagine that. I mean, VA hospitals, for example, are filled with people who are sick and so forth. I just can't imagine that. I would. My guess is that this would not impair or negatively impact hospitals and so forth. Definitely not VA hospitals, people who've served the country. I just don't think that from what Stephen Miller said, it is the opportunity to look at certain types of things that don't really affect people's lives. I don't know how true that is. I don't know. I just don't, because I've seen conflicting stories. But I hope that does not negatively affect your ability to receive the services that you need, being one of our nation's heroes. Well, okay. Someone here says, no, I'm not even gonna give this person any shine. In fact, let me see. Can I get rid of this? I don't know why these trolls. Why do they show up and just show up just to troll? Just ain't got nothing else better to do. I'm so busy with the stuff that I'm doing. I would not take 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes of my time to get on anybody's channel and just write crazy stuff and just troll. Get a life. Get a life. Why do you do that? Anyway. We need more Jasmine Crockett's, said Mr. Spearman. Mr. Spearman, Mike Spearman. I agree with you. Jasmine is our representative. Took over for the late, great Eddie Bernice Johnson. And she did a great job. And Jasmine is obviously in there working like crazy for her constituents and for the country. So we definitely need more Jasmine Crockett's. And I agree with this person too, Brian or Bryn Lorenz, who said if y'all need Jasmine Crockett, then run for Congress. I so agree with that. That's right. I believe we should run people for these offices who are our neighbors, who know us, who understand our issues, people you can trust, folks you know will get in there and fight for you. Doesn't have to be the career politicians. Just some of you folks who have some fire in your belly, who want to see some change, who want to help your community, your neighborhood. And you know the people, you love the people, you grew up with the people. Your children go to school together. You attend the same churches and so forth. Yes, run for Congress. Run for Congress. Absolutely, I agree with that 100%. Someone said we lost because of voter suppression. I could not agree with you more. Voter suppression. But it's a different kind. We got the regular kind through stuff like racial gerrymandering and these voter suppressive laws that states passed after the Shelby County versus Tennessee case. We got that kind of stuff, but we got some other stuff too that's suppressing votes. And you know what it's called? Disinformation. Disinformation that caused so many African American people not to vote. That is a major issue in our community. All right? All right, let me see if I can do one more. Oh, wow. Wow. A good friend of mine, my college chum, my best buddy, my homie, is on this thing. Eugene Peterson. Gene, we went to college together. Man, you know how much I love you and appreciate you being up here. You all, this guy, Gene from G-Borough, A&T. We were best buddies. Him and me and in Chicago. May he rest in peace. Man, good to see you here, man. Good to see you. And by the way, Gene, I should say evangelist Eugene Peterson, a powerful, powerful preacher of the gospel. Thank you, man, for tuning in. And please keep me in your prayers. And let's touch bases soon. All right, this is going to do it. I hope I help untangle some things. Again, this is a fast-moving case. It's basically in the courts now, which is probably where the Trump administration wanted it to be anyway, because they know at the top of the heap up there, they got a very, very favorable court. But hopefully the court will stick with precedent and, you know, we'll stick with the Constitution and, you know, do the right thing. All right. So that's going to be it. I really appreciate you all taking the time to hang with me tonight. It's a little late, especially back on the East Coast. Thank you all so much. And thank you for your comments as well. Thank you for all your support. Please like this video, like it, comment as you are, share it. The more you do that, the more YouTube will push it out. If you think that it needs to get out there, please help me get it out there. All right, that is going to do it. Let's see what happens tomorrow. Maybe back on tomorrow, the next day. It may, you know, I don't know. I don't know where things are going. But for now, that's going to do it. That is going to do it. Let's go out on a little music here. Yeah, there we go. Yes, sir. All right, you all. Be good. And this is my closing. Let me say this. Always, no matter what they say, no matter what they try to tell you, stay woke. Stay woke. Woke. Stay woke. Stay woke. Stay woke. They want you to go to sleep. They want you to close your eyes. They want you to put your head in the sand. But stay woke. All right? I'm out. Peace.